Well, it's that time of the week. Read the line, celebrity guest picker. And today we have a true insider. I'm sitting here with Brian Mull. He's a PGA Tour caddy out there, 160, 170 tour events. Jerry Kelly, Larry Rinker over the years, 15 years out there on tour. Torrey itself, he's been there 5, 6 times and caddied. Brian, welcome to Read the Line, celebrity guest picker. Thanks for being our celebrity this week to give us an inside take on the Farmers Insurance Open. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Keith. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's get right into it. Torrey, the weather looks good out there, but this course is a beast, right? Give us a little insider perspective. When's the last time you were out at Torrey, and do you have any good stories?
I was out there in 2014 caddying for a rookie, Kevin Foley. It was pretty cool. You're trying to learn 2 golf courses there. First time I was trying to help. He's playing with 2 other rookies in a practice round, so they had a threesome. We get to the par 3 tee there on the front, number 4, and we've got a little bit of a delay, and we're waiting, and up walks Mark Leishman, and the guy's by himself. And the guys are playing a little bit of a money game. Nothing crazy, but just something to kind of keep it interesting. And they asked Leishman if he wants to get in on the game, and he's like, yeah, sure, why not? Leishman proceeds to hole out from off the green. All of these shots around the green, but still from off the green 5 times in the next 13, 14 holes, however many it was, and took all of the money. And the last one came on 16 from a bunker. He knocked it right in the hole, and I've never seen anything like it, one golfer hole out 5 times from off the green. He went on to have a good week. He's played well there through the years. But I think those rookies got a taste of the kind of short game that you need at Torrey Pines and just in general to be successful on the PGA Tour.
Well, there's no doubt that this is one of those places that is horses for courses. You look at the record of certain people there, whether it's somebody like a Brandt Snedeker or it's Tiger Woods, who's won there probably 100 times, right? So let's get right into it. You talked about short game. Are there other skills that you're handicapping this week when you start to build your model for who you think might have some success and contend come Saturday?
Yeah, driving distance is going to be important. I feel like I'm going to weight mine toward guys that are probably top 50 in driving distance in this field. It's just a bear of a golf course. I mean, we've heard guys through the years, whether it was David Toms when in his prime, or a Webb Simpson, or Kevin Kisner, talking about medium length hitters who just avoid this event because they just don't feel like they can compete regardless of how well they're playing. And I think historically, if you go back and look at the winners of this event, Brandt Snedeker being an exception, but for the most part, you've got bombers, you've got power. And then secondly, I'm looking at guys that you've got to be really good in that 175 to 200 approach range. Okay. This course is just going to present a lot of shots, mid irons to even long irons on some of the par 3s where you've just got to step up there and hit targets that aren't that large, because these greens are sectioned, and they'll put the pins obviously in the corners, especially on the weekends. And not only do you have to hit the right number, but you've got to be able to get it in there, in that right section of the green to have an easy 2-putt on that Poana. And that's the third thing. Certainly, we see this Poana surface first time of the year. We're going to see it a few more times in the next month or so. And, it's a different animal. I mean, I'm from the South, grew up on Bermuda with some bent here and there. And then you get out there and you see that Poana, and it's like it's a different type of stroke. It's a different type of feel and ability. And you've got to have some confidence in your putting to know that even late in the day on Poana, you're going to hit some putts that are great putts that aren't going to go in because they're going to start bouncing around a little bit. I mean, we all remember the famous putt Tiger made there in 2008, to get into the playoff with Rocco, and the ball's plinking around on the green, and like it's not rolling true. So you just have to kind of deal with some of that out there. And so those 3 elements and short game certainly will factor probably a little higher than it normally would as well, because I don't care how well you're striking the ball, you're going to miss some greens at Torrey Pines.
Now, last week we just walked away from an event, the American Express. It wasn't a lot of big marquee names on the leaderboard come Sunday. This weekend, will there be? Is this Jon Rahm's place to play? I mean, he won the U.S. Open there. And that begs the question. is the U.S. Open that was played in June going to be comparable to the conditions that they're going to face this week at Torrey? What do you think about that?
I don't. I think the golf course played much shorter last summer.
Okay.
It was much drier and firmer, and pretty much to a man, all the guys that played said, yeah, it's a different animal. The clubs we're hitting into the greens are much different than what we're used to. This is typically their wet season. If they're going to get any rain in Southern California, it's typically going to be in January and February, and it's just cool in the mornings and damp. The air is just heavy. Of course, you're right there on the cliffs of the ocean, and the course can play long and a little bit softer. So the approach shots will hold, but I think you're going to see a big boy leaderboard. I think we've had an interesting year. The Sony, you can kind of figure out who's going to play well at the Sony year after year after year. It's the same guys that play well at YLI and the Southern contingent that plays well in Bermuda, and the guys that kind of plotted around. And then the Hope last week, American Express, can be anybody. We've seen that through through the years of the winners, and I do think you have to be in control of your ball, certainly, but anybody can get hot and make the putts to win. And then I think this week's kind of a combination, certainly course history, but also form. I don't think you're going to come to Torrey Pines and find your game. It's too difficult to test. I think it can be the most difficult course on tour. Whether that'll play out this year, but it's certainly always in the top 5.
Well, the weather looks good so far for San Diego. It looks like high 60s, not a lot of wind. Hopefully there won't be too much of a marine layer. We'll be hearing lots of that this week, I'm sure. Now, you mentioned the big boys, right? Out of the big boys, the VIPs, the favorites, the chalk, who do you like this week?
Well, it's hard not to take a long, hard look at Rahm, but boy, those are some tough odds. You just feel like with what he's shown in his 2 appearances already, that his game's in great shape. He got a little frustrated on the greens last week, but that won't matter quite as much this week. He'll be able to ball strike his way around there a little bit. But I'm going a little deeper. I like Koepka at 33-1. I feel like he chipped away a little bit of rust at the beginning of the year, and now it's had a week to probably work on what he felt like he needed to. And I just think if Brooks Koepka at 33-1, and he was in contention for the U.S. Open there last year. He hasn't played this event a lot, but he obviously likes the golf course. I'm going to have to give him a long, hard look. Anytime you can get a 4-time major champion at that number, it's very interesting to me.
Brian Mull, Caddy Network insider, handicapping this field. You're making me feel like I should get excited about Brooks in 2022. Yes or no? Yeah?
I think so. Yeah. I think we're going to see a little bit of a resurgence here. I think, we've had a strange couple of years. We went through a period where we didn't have any galleries, and I think that certainly affected the superstars more so than the rank and file guys. And, Brooks has had his share of health issues, but it seems like most of those are behind him. His attitude, some of his comments that he made at the Hero just made me think that, he understands. He's in the prime of his career, and he's kind of had a bit of a wasted year or two in his mind. And yes, it's all about the majors for him, but certainly this tournament will have a major-esque feel as far as the regular tour event, but both the difficulty of the golf course and the caliber of the field, and with the Saturday night primetime finish, he wants to be in that mix, I'm sure.
Now, here's one of the main reasons why I love you as our celebrity guest picker this week, right? When you were out there working, you were working with a lot of the long shots, right? So I know you're tuned into these guys. Who's playing well? Who plays this type of golf course well? When you start to get to those odds that are way past the Brooks Koepkas of the world, right? Who do you like this week?
Well, I'm only going to 66 because I don't think anybody beyond that can win. I really don't. I don't see anybody coming from too deep. I just think there's too much talent in this field and at the top. Max Homa, come on. California guy, he's been playing the best golf of his life. He talked about his disappointment in not making the Ryder Cup team last year, and he feels like that's the next step in his career. And, he's at that point now where you expect Max Homa to win once maybe twice in some years. Picked up one at the Fortinet on some Poana earlier in the season already, and just seems to be in a great place. Has one of the, Joe, his buddy, is really has a great reputation as one of the better caddies out there, and they have a great relationship. And Max has a couple of top 20s the last 2 years in this event, so certainly he can get it around there. And I just think he's at a good point in his life and his career, and ready to make that next step to become a consistent top 30 player.
You just piqued my interest for some serious prop takes there on Max Homa. And that's why we do this, folks, here at Read the Line. We're having so much fun just bringing people on week in and week out to talk about different aspects of the golf course and to get your perspective, right? So if you're looking for more of Brian's perspective, check him out at the Caddie Network. He writes a report every week. Excellent journalist. Brian, can't thank you enough for being with me here on Read the Line.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me. Anytime. Everybody have a good week. Good luck.
Good luck to everybody for sure. Subscribe, read, and win. Have a good one at the Farmers Insurance Open.